Hello guys, my name is Julius and I'll be walking you through Excel's pivot table function. Pivot table is used to analyze a database. So we are going to try how to use Excel's pivot table to do a simple database analysis. For instance, we have a database here from an insurance company that has a field for state, for the coverage, the type of coverage that they offer in that state, the year with the quarter, the number of car years, the claim count, and the paid amount for that coverage. So, in order for you to create an Excel's pivot table, all you have to do is to click anywhere inside the database. You don't have to select the entire database. Just click anywhere inside the database like I have done right now, and then go to your Insert tab and then click Pivot Table. The Create Pivot Table pop-up function shows, and it says choose the data that you want to analyze, which we have already done. So you can see that Excel has highlighted the entire database. Else, we could have chosen use an external data source and then click choose connection for our database. You usually use this option if you have your database in Microsoft Access or a text file or some other database that is not in Excel right now. But luckily for us, we have our database in Excel, so we just go with the first option. The second part of the pop-up window says choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. The default is a new worksheet, but sometimes you would want to put your pivot table in the same worksheet as you have your database. In that case, all you have to do is to click existing worksheet and then you click the location where you want to put your pivot table. But it is always a good idea to put your pivot table in a new worksheet. So that is what we will do here. And then we click OK. So this is a pivot table without any format or style. So you would have to give it some format in order for it to make meaning to us. These are the raw fields that we have in our database: the states, the coverage, the year with the quarter, the car years, the claim count, and the paid amount. So we can check each of these fields in order to make sure that we have them in our pivot table. And that is how it shows by default. But this format still doesn't make any sense to us if we want to do a very good analysis. So if we come down to the pivot table field list, we see what says drag fields between areas below. And we have the report filter area, we have the row labels area, and then we have the values area, and column labels as well. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense to do your analysis by state. So it will be a good idea to use the state as a report filter or report header. So we can drag our states from the row labels to the report filter. There also, after doing the state analysis, we would want to select a state and the particular type of coverage. So we can use the coverage type as a report filter too. And in that case, you can see the state and coverage have moved to the top of the page in a pivot table, and we have all the other fields below it. If we click on the states, we have all states, we have Alaska and all the other states listed below. So you can decide to use all the states, or you can deselect all of them and then choose one of them. Let's say Alaska. Click OK. And whatever you have underneath this, it's going to be whatever you have in the state Alaska. We can do a similar thing for the coverages. You can select all of them or deselect all of them and then click BI, bodily injury. And whatever we have in our pivot table will be for Alaska, bodily injury coverage. But our current pivot table still doesn't make enough sense to us. And why is that? If we go down to our row labels, we can see the year with the quarter, we can see the car years, the claim count, and the paid amount. But the car years, claim count, and paid amount are the actual values that we want to analyze. So it will be a very good idea to move all these values to the correct area, and that would be the values area. And then we can keep the year and quarter here, so that the year, let's say for example 2001 quarter 4, will be a row label, and then we can see the car years, the claim count, and the paid amount for that label. By default, Excel reports the count of all the values you have in your pivot table. But telling me that I have just one count of car years for 2001 quarter 4 doesn't actually make any sense to me. I want to see what number corresponds to that one value Excel is talking about. So I go to the column header for car years, I right click it, and then I go to the summarize values by. So as you can see, Excel has checked the count as the default, but we don't want that one. We want sum. We click on sum, and then we have the sum of car years for 2001 quarter 4 through 2006 quarter 1 in the grand total. And we can do likewise for the claim count and the count of paid amount. Our pivot table is beginning to make sense now. We can do further analysis from our pivot table at this moment. We can find the frequency, the severity, and the pure premium for all these policies. Frequency is given as the claim count divided by the car years. So that means we are going to insert a calculated field that takes the claim count and then divides it by the car years, and we get our claims frequency. So how do we insert a calculated field? We go to our options, pivot table options here, and then we go to fields, items, and sets. You click on it, and you can see calculated field. You click calculated field. What name do we want to give to this field? We want to call it frequency. And what formula are we going to use to calculate our frequency? Frequency, once again, is giving us claim count. So we have our claim count, we can double click it, and then we divide that by the car years. We can choose to click on car years once and then click insert field, or double click it and get the same result. And then we click add and OK, and we have our frequencies. Once again, Excel gives us the values in the crude format, so we can fine tune it by, let's say, putting it to percentages and increasing the number of decimal places, let's say 4 decimal places, and it looks nicer and more presentable now. So we will go ahead and calculate our severity. So once again, we go to options, we go to fields, items, and sets, we click calculated field, and we call this severity. The formula for severity would be the paid amount divided by the claim count. So we have the paid amount divided by claim count. We click add, OK, and we have our severity. We can fine tune severity as well. It is a dollar amount, so if you want the symbol, you can put it there. You can use the thousand separator, keep our decimal places here, 2 decimal places, and click OK, and we have a severity fine tuned. Then we can go ahead and calculate our pure premium. Pure premium is given as, first the name, that's pure premium. The formula would be the paid amount divided by the car years. We add, we click OK, and we have our pure premium. It is a dollar amount. If you like, you can keep the dollar sign with it. You can also decide to take the symbol away and you will still be fine. So we have 3 calculated fields from the fields we already had in our pivot table. Let's say you want to see the distribution of the car years in the pivot table. So we already have car years in our values area, but we want it again for a different purpose. So we can pick it up and drop it in here. And we have our count of car years. So we can change it to summarize values by the sum. And then we have sum of car years too. But for the distribution, we want to see what percentage this number is of the column total. So all we have to do is to right click the column header again, go to show values as, and then we go to percentage of column total. Now there is percentage of the grand total, percentage of row total, and some other functions that you can use here depending on the results that you want to get. Right now we want to get what percentage each of these numbers are of the column total. So we can click that. And that turns the column total into 100%, and each of these percentages that contribute to the 100%. And we have that. So you can double click this and change the name. Let's see, distribution of car years. Click OK, and you're fine. And our pivot table makes more sense now. It looks more presentable and helps whoever needs this information for their work to get what they want. So once again, you can go to the report filter. Let's say you want to select a different state. Let's look for Illinois. And oh, I'm sorry. So let's deselect Alaska. Then we can have it for Illinois, yes. And then for the coverage, let's say we want to check collision and comp. Yes. So for collision and comp, these are the values that show up for Illinois. And if you're the manager or whoever needs such information, it looks so presentable right now, and it can help you do a very good analysis of those products. Thank you so much. There are lots of other functions that you can do with pivot tables, and if you need more information, you can get a lot of help on YouTube. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the class. Bye bye.